You ever watch something that has been hyped up to you for a long time and you just go, that's it? That's what people were ranting and raving about? That's what some guy apparently spent $50,000 on an animation for? That's how I felt when watching Hazbin Hotel, and I went into the show completely blind, knowing nearly nothing about it. To be honest, I thought that this show had been out for several years on YouTube, but I guess I was getting it mixed up with Hell of a Boss, which is apparently something different. I also did not know that this show was a musical until I watched it. So I have no outside influence on my opinion for this video. So how was the show? I thought that it was very bad, a mess, and incredibly tasteless and offensive in parts, which I'll get into later. If you don't know, Hazbin Hotel is about the daughter of Satan wanting to make a hotel that redeems people in hell so they don't get killed by angels. Because every once in a while the angels come and they kill people in hell so that they don't try to rise up against heaven. Oh, before I forget, technically this is only a review of the first 4 episodes because that's all that's out right now. The rest is going to come out weekly for a season of 8 episodes. But why is the show bad? Well, there's a multitude of reasons. The first one is gimmicky characters, which also spills over into the humor. Each character has a gimmick, and that's what they embody 95% of the time. You can predict the dialogue that they will say at any given moment, because they are incapable of breaking the parameters of their gimmick. Charlie is naive, Vaggie is boring, I mean tough, Alistair is creepy, Angel Dust is horny, and Husk does not want to be there. The only character who isn't extremely beholden to a single very broad gimmick is Nifty, who is coincidentally the only character that actually made me laugh. She's just like a little chaos gremlin, basically. I'm gonna do my artist rendition of most of the interactions in the show. We need more people to come to our hotel. I don't know how to get people to come to the hotel. Also, I'm boring. Gay sex. We could do something creepy to get people to the hotel. I don't want to be here. None of the characters have any depth and are confined by their gimmick. Aside from Angel Dust, who has depth in a bad way, which I'll get to later. All of the interactions in the show are completely predictable and derivative of other things. The show in general is very juvenile, seemingly repurposing scripts from kids animated shows, and then just adding the words fuck a bunch of times. The plot of a lot of episodes are things you've seen before in kids animated shows. For example, there's an episode where a bad guy goes undercover at the hotel. It's the typical kids cartoon, people are accusing him of things but they don't believe him. That only takes up half the episode though. The other half of the episode is a typical trying to get a bad guy to become good cartoon setup. Both of which have been in many kids cartoons by this point, but in those kids cartoons they don't say fuck. Thematically, the show is also kind of messy and confusing. Early on in the show, we see an angel. The angels, both in design and personality, are indistinguishable from one of the demons. They have the same quirky, hot topic look, and the angel, for nearly all of his screen time, talks about getting his dick sucked. Which I guess is supposed to be the point of the show, that like Christianity is hypocritical or whatever. But have that be a reveal. Don't have it be so blatant, and have some design differences between the demons and the angels to have a little bit of contrast. Let's talk about the songs. The songs are fine. All the singing's good, the composition's good. I didn't hate any of them. They weren't causing me like physical pain. Some of them are kind of catchy. The thing is, they seem forced in each episode. In every episode thus far, they happen around the same time in the episode, usually at the 8 to 10 minute mark. To the point where, you know, I saw a little time thing and I was like, oh, we got a song coming up. And then the song takes 2 minutes, and then there's like a 2-minute gap, and then 2 minutes later there's another song. A good amount of the songs are sung by villains and side characters, which is fine, I guess. I mean, villain songs are classic. The issue is that there's too many villains, and they each get a song. The main cast is so underdeveloped that some songs could help elaborate on their motivations. Vaggie does get a song, and I'm sorry, but Stephanie Beatrice is doing a terrible voice performance in this show. I don't know if it was bad direction or the way the character was written. I've seen a little bit of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and she's good in that. I have not seen Encanto, so she could just be a bad voice actress, but she is so wooden and so charismaless, and this shines through to her song as well, which is supposed to be about her internal conflict, but it just comes off so poorly because of how underdeveloped and poorly performed the character is. There's too many side characters as well. For example, there are 2 side characters that are introduced and then like 4 minutes later get a song. It reminds me of when you're playing D&D and either you as the DM or your DM as a player and introduces way too many characters, each with their own motivations, and wants them all to be equally important in the story, and it's just a mess. I can attest to this because this is how the current D&D game that I'm running is. Because there's 2 songs every episode and they each come at the same point, I'm reminded of the shitty Donkey Kong Country cartoon, which also had 2 songs each episode that were at the same exact point each time.
I shower you with coconut cream pies.
And that's at least more entertaining than this. I mean, this is obviously better from an artistic standpoint, but that's more entertaining. Anyway, let's talk about the tastelessness that I was talking about earlier. So, there's graphic rape in this show that is not played as a joke, which is not necessarily a problem. In a comedy, though, there is going to be some tonal dissonance unless you've established having dark themes like that earlier in the show, which they do not. The issue is with how tastelessly it is handled. Angel Dust's whole gimmick, like I said earlier, is that he likes to fuck. That's his whole gimmick. He's like a gay porn star and he just constantly talks about fucking. After this being his gimmick and his joke for the entire show, randomly in the 4th episode, it's revealed that he is a sex slave who is non-consensually being in all these porn videos. This is done through a song that he is singing, an upbeat song, which I guess the intent is to have some dissonance between the tone of the song and the subject matter, while there are pretty graphic rape scenes playing in the background. Now, there are no genitals in this show, thank fucking God. But for something to be graphic, it doesn't necessarily have to have genitals visible. Most upsetting rape scenes in things, like you're not seeing cock and balls. I don't know why the decision was made to put graphic rape in a stupid comedy that just takes the scripts for kids cartoons and adds curse words into them, but what a terrible decision to make. Anyway, with that note, that's my review of the first 4 episodes of Hazbin Hotel. This video does well and there's interest for it, I'll probably review all the episodes once the season's over. Unless there's more poorly handled serious subject matter, I don't really know what I'll add in that review, considering I feel like I've spoken my piece here. One thing I will praise about the show is it does get the vibe of being in hell well, because watching it I felt like I was in hell. Anyway, if you like this video, check out my video on the Mean Girls musical remake. See you next time!